Whenever you're ready. Wait, we can't see you. Okay,
All right.
team one.
Let's see. It was great speaking with you. You had a good elevator speech, and your resume was flawless. I think you get the job.
All right, so you showed up to this interview. Do you even know what the job here is for? I mean, you showed up without a resume. You showed up undressed professionally. You didn't get the job. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. All right, we are Team 1, and we're going to teach you the steps to guarantee success at a job fair. So, how do you do that? Well, first, you got to get your resume and business cards all put together. It's a necessity. Second, you got to prepare by doing your research for the company. Third, you got to be sure you nail that handshake when you get there. Third, you got to be able to talk to yourself and sell yourself in your elevator speech. And lastly, that follow-up is very important for making that connection with the company.
All right, so I'll talk a little bit about the documentation you should bring to your job fair. First, you should have several copies of a well-drafted resume, and then you should have a stack of professional business cards. So, how to make the perfect resume? What's on a resume? Well, you have your education, your work experience, and your skills. But more importantly, what do employers notice? Communication, leadership, problem solving. If you have specific examples of these in your resume, maybe in a bullet point, somewhere with your work experience or a project, I think you'll stand out among the crowd. Finally, where to seek help? There are a lot of good resources on campus, like the BCC or the resume workshops, where you can revise and improve your resume so you can be ready for that job fair. Next, business cards. Business cards provide practical contacts, so a phone number or an email. They also provide a professional impression, which means you look like you're prepared and ready to do business. Finally, it's a tangible exchange, so they get something physically that they can remember you by, maybe give you a call. At the end of the conversation, maybe you could look like this. Hey, did you have a business card that I could have? Of course. I look forward to being in touch. All right. Go with visit on the steps to prepare.
Thank you. So I'm going to talk a little about how to prepare for your job fair. Job fairs can be very stressful. There's usually a lot of people there, so you can get overwhelmed easily. So the first thing you need to do is find out what companies are attending. However, there's usually many companies attending. So you want to shortlist the companies that are relevant to what you're studying, companies that you would be interested in working for. After you've done that, write them down in an order of priority. Start with the ones that you want to talk to the most at the job fair, going all the way down. Once you have that list ready, research these companies. Go on their websites, find out what kind of clients they have, what kind of projects they do. Also, what you can do is read some articles, find out any recent changes that the company has gone through that you can probably mention in the conversation with them. So while you're researching, also you can prepare questions. Maybe you found something on their website that was interesting that you can ask them. So if you have specific questions ready, it gives an impression that you're prepared, that you know what you're doing, that it shows your interest while you're talking to a potential employer. Once you're done all these things, you're ready to attend the job fair, and I'm going to pass to Ben, who's good at it.
All right, now it is time to talk about the introduction once you get to the job fair. First thing, the handshake. You see this part of your hand? It is called the perlicue. You need to make sure that the perlicue of your right hand connects solidly with the perlicue of your employer's hand. So look, watch, let's imagine this is their hand. See that connection? Boom, it's solid. Now, another important part of this is when you're going in for the handshake, it is okay to break eye contact if you're going to get that good connection. That's a very important thing. So don't be afraid to break eye contact that split second to get a great handshake. Next, it's going to be your first impressions. Now this is very important because you don't want to come off as too enthusiastic or too crazy because it might put your employer off. Now an example I have of this is this class. So for this class, first day I was like, oh no, this is a bad one. This is going to be rough to get through. But it turns out, I've learned a lot more and had a lot more fun in this class than the rest of my class this semester. But the difference here is the employer or interviewer doesn't have to see you again, whereas I did have to come to this class again. So it's very important to make sure your impression reflects what you want. Now, last, we're going to talk about smiling through the awkwardness. Now, you're meeting someone new and you're supposed to talk about yourself, it's definitely going to get a little awkward. And it's okay. It's not going to last forever. Just try to be content and appear happy with it. And I have a personal story for this one. It's one of my first interviews. I went in, shook the guy's hand, gave my elevator speech, felt like it was perfect. But then he sort of didn't leave me any opportunities to talk, and I just sort of sat there. I didn't really know what to say. But I tried to be happy, I tried to smile through it. And at the end, he sort of even made like a little side note. He's like, maybe next time we'll know each other better. And so that made me feel better because he acknowledged the awkwardness and still said he looked forward to it next time. Which sort of just gave me a boost that, you know, even though it was awkward, it's not the biggest deal. Now I'm going to pass it on to Chris for the elevator speech.
So now we're on to the most important part, which is introducing yourself. But before we give you more tips on how to do that, we're going to test you. So Ben and Josh here, they're going to demonstrate a possible scenario. This is Ben's first job fair, and he's really nervous. So we want to see if you guys have some constructive criticism for him. Let's see how this goes.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. All right, you doing all right?
Yep, I'm all right. You doing okay today?
Yes, I'm doing fine. So what skills could you provide, and what value could you bring to the company?
Well, I've started to learn a few languages. I've looked up what being an actuary is, and you know, I'm going to try to take some of the exams.
We do require one exam for entry.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through that one. Yeah.
Okay, well, we look forward to hearing from you. All right.
Okay, so that was pretty weird. Do you guys think Ben could have done anything better in this situation?
Yes. Eye contact.
Eye contact, that's a good one. Anyone else? Really? Yeah.
Yeah, they said how they were doing like 3 times.
I should probably move on to something else. Yep.
Regarding the exams, like he didn't look up the fact that he needed the exam to like get into the job, and he was like, yeah, I'm doing that.
Exactly. So Chris looks a little more confident. Let's see if he can make a good impression on Fizza.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm an aspiring actuary at UTD planning on a 2021 graduation date. I can code in C++, I have prior leadership experience, and I'm planning on taking the SOA exam in the fall.
Wow, Chris.
So by applying this experience and knowledge, I could be a valuable asset to any team or role you put me in, and I'm hoping to keep in contact with you.
Thank you, Chris. Looking forward to hearing more from you.
All right.
Okay, so that was much better. Chris, he said who he was, what he wants, why he's there, and he comes across as more prepared and professional. So now he's going to talk about how to come up with a great elevator speech.
All right, so you start with an introduction. This is very brief. The entire elevator speech is supposed to be within 25 to 30 seconds. So your introduction is just going to be your name, your occupation, like you're a student or your job. What are you offering? What are you bringing to this company or to this person? What kind of value is it? How is it beneficial? How can you apply it? How can you bring that to the company? How can you put it on the table? How does it benefit the company as a whole? How is that done? How do you do that? How do you apply what you're bringing to the table? And finally, purpose of your speech. Why are you here in the first place? Why are you asking this person these things? Why are you talking to this person? Do you want a contact? Are you looking for a job interview? Just expanding your network? And now I'm handing it off to Fizza.
You've attended the job fair. You've done a good handshake. You've introduced yourself well. You've made a good elevator speech. You've made that connection. However, you want that connection to last. These company representatives, they've talked to several students that day, but you want you to be remembered. So what you're going to do is send a follow-up email. Sending this email makes sure that that connection that you made lasts. You've taken the time and effort to write an email. So, the structure of the email. So you're going to start with reintroducing yourself, talking a little bit about your conversation that you had with them so that they'll remember you. After you've done that, restate again why you would be a good fit for the job. Mention your skills, mention your experience, and then also attach your resume in the email so they can look at it again. After you've done that, send a quick thank you, and then The great thing is you can just use the similar email and send it to different companies and then just tailor it according to what you talk to them about that day. And you're all set? You can pass that to Catherine.
Okay. So just to wrap things up here, our main points to take away. Make sure you bring copies of your resume. Everyone in here should have a fantastic resume, thanks to Professor Bruce. If you want to keep it simple, you can also make business cards. Make sure you do prep beforehand. They'll tell you who's going to be there, so research those companies, come up with questions. And then when you do meet with someone, you want a good handshake, firm but not aggressive. And then you can also come up with an elevator speech, which is a great tool to introduce yourself as a professional in really any networking situation. And lastly, follow up. If there's somebody that you wanted to get in contact with, send them an email, give them a call, and that about sums it up. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you guys for listening. Do you have any questions?
No questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.